Alright. Now where is it? What? Alright. So today's stream is going to be a little different, yeah? Ah. Captions? Hmm. Alright. I can't find that's alright. So today's stream is a little different than the other ones, you know? So I'm still a student in high school. I'm still in high school. That's all you guys need to know. And I have a test tomorrow that, to be honest, I really don't want to study. However, since a friend of mine asked, the other day, when's the study stream? I told him one day. And I guess today is one day. So I won't be much talking because I'll just be reading over the Advanced Placement Edition, United States Government and Politics by David Walford. So yeah, like like the title itself states, I'm studying for my AP Government chapter exam. So there's nowhere to start but chapter 1.1, Ideals of Democracy. Yeah, the influence of enlightenment really, sounds such an amazing topic to speak about. Because not only is it just like the leading revolutionaries are inspired by Enlightenment thinkers who champion natural, God-given rights and social contract between representative government and the people, the true source of power. Yeah, enlightenment stuff. If you live in the U.S. and this is what to make you guys do. But if you live anywhere outside the U.S., then you guys have your own version of this. If not, you don't. Each to their own, I suppose. But yeah. Learning about the Leviathan, which by Thomas Hobbes argues that humans live in a state of nature rather than a government state, and result in anarchy and war. Hmm. Yeah. So I have like two accounts open. This one basically just has like all the periods. It's on my school account. I'm trying to make sure I don't. So I hope it doesn't reveal too much. This is individual rights, ideas of democracy. So from John Locke, you know, I'm pretty much just gonna be reading all this really, just reviewing it. It's not gonna be much talking here, but hello. Oh, I was gonna say hello, the one concurrent viewer. I guess since this isn't game, since I guess isn't he's not really interested in what there is to see here. Each to their own. So yeah, just kind of just looking over really. If you guys have anything to say, feel free to chat, type it out in the chat. Aside from that, it's pretty much it really. I don't know what else to say. I mean, gotta study all this stuff. Stay locked in. Yeah. So yeah. There's not really much to chat about, really. It's supposed to be studying, so it's be more of a quiet time for me. But if I'm gonna be honest with you, I just kind of just skimmed over through things. I don't know. I guess studying has just never really been my thing. I'd either well, if I do pay attention to it, yeah, it goes well. But if not, then well, I mean, it is what it is, honestly. And well, I mean, you know, this is this is really the thing that people would feel to see. The Articles of Confederation. What a lovely period for the United States that time was. Totally not a whole rebellion could have overthrown the government over there. You guys ever heard of Shea? For any like American viewers, which I doubt there's gonna be any really. Such like a few, because last time I checked my demographics, it was mostly people outside of the United States that viewed my stuff. So appreciate the international support, guys. Relatively small compared to everyone else, so we appreciate you guys stopping by. But yeah, so yeah, so there's one dude called Daniel Shea. He got pretty upset about what was happening in Massachusetts at the time, and bro was like, "All right, I had enough of this." Then just proceeds to grab a bunch of other farmers, which then it kind of led some sort of like of an insurrection, which yeah, led a bit of an insurrection, which was immediately squabbled down by the Massachusetts general. You know, so yeah, Massachusetts general really squabbled that one after a first encounter, but apparently there was other more skirmishes happening around. So you know, hmm. My favorite topic: the ratification of the U.S. government. I mean, not the U.S. government. Fuck. Ratification of the U.S. Constitution. So yeah, I mean the U.S. Constitution wasn't just all cut and dry. No, I mean they had to like discuss it with the other states. Imagine that. Like just trying to get the interests of two different states is much of a hassle nowadays. Back then, they had to do it. They had to do it, and they did. There's a lot of compromises though. Jeez, I wonder when we'll get any of those again. Yeah, we've gotten a few over the last few years, but it was nothing so major that it would actually satisfy both sides of the political spectrum. So yeah, got the great compromise. Representation. Hmm. Nice. Oh yeah. Also a nice fun fact. If I have any Rhode Island viewers, for some reason you guys just didn't like attending anything anything related to the US like earlier days. Like you guys really just did not attend. One delegate from each 12 states present. Rhode Island did not attend. Holy. Hey, at least our modern day Congress comes from the from hold on, a Roger Sherman. I think it was the delegate of Connecticut, and because I guess he was okay. He joined the committee taking place as Oliver Ellsworth, who was sick. So he forged the Great Compromise of Connecticut, or the Connecticut Compromise, which is basically just the U.S. Congress today really two. It's made of composed of two houses, the House of Representatives and the Senate. Of course, his plan satisfied the others, so those besides like the people who supported the Virginia plan and those who supported the New Jersey plan. Virginia plan saying that bigger states need more. Yeah, beggars. Hold on. Something about larger states need more representation because they're larger states. And then there's the New Jersey plan, which of course said that you know smaller states can get could also have a say against the bigger states. So it's really something interesting. And then since slavery was a thing, the three-fifths compromise is real. But aside from that, well, the articles. Wait, what? So these are the the original U.S. Constitution. So the original U.S. Constitution was composed of 7 articles. Article 1 talking about the legislative branch, Article 2 talking about the executive branch, Article 3 the judiciary, Article 4 relations among states, Article 5 the amendment process, Article 6 national supremacy, and Article 7 ratification process. Oh, so that process. Hello, one concurrent viewer. I know today's stream is not what normally people would assume expect from me, but friend recommended it, like not long back. But yeah, you know. So yeah, I'm just kind of reading over this book I have just to study for the chapter exam tomorrow. It's a studious individual. Yep, I have to lock in because I'm failing pre-calc, and that's really the only class I'm failing. So I don't want to go down with the others. Yeah, the separation of powers. What a fun topic to go up against. The executive, the judicial, and the legislative. What a time to be alive. So the legislative is made of Congress, which Congress is made of the House of Representatives and the Senate. The executive branch is made of the president and the administration, and the Supreme Court is made. The judicial branch made of the Supreme Court and the inferior court. Indeed, I am. Oh yeah, checks and balances. 2/3 override, the pocket veto, and there's just the veto. Then we have the advice and consent. Interesting. We have the impeachment process. Then we have Chapter 2 review. Chapter 2. Oh, what the hell? Oh, so I don't have to do any of this. Oh. That's fucking great. So it turns out I don't have to read about the Constitution. Or I think I should. You know what? I'm gonna just go over it just in case it pops up, Just in case the AP government chapter exam is like, let's sprinkle in a little bit of surprises, I heard people like those nowadays, so might as well throw one in there, So yeah. It just leads us back to the ideal of democracy. If anything, I think this is most likely to pop up. John Locke and Thomas Hobbes, And from what I've learned in class, I think Locke was more of like, well, I think it's consent. Yeah, he talks about consent, while this man talks about safety within the nation. So like, how do we say it right? Like, if I consent you to rule over me, then you can rule over me. If not, I do not consent, and you should not rule over me. While Thomas Hobbes is like, we need a government or to keep us safe from basically like people who are ruling themselves go wild, basically anarchy. You know, might as well have someone looking out after us so we don't kill each other over who's in power. Which I mean, the first one, you make sense, like yeah, obviously I don't want someone else making decisions on my behalf. No, I can think like any human being. That's what we all say before that night, that after 9 p.m. thoughts come in. And you're like, wow, my life's in shambles. What the hell do I do? But to be fair though, I guess like a counter to that would be Thomas Hobbes' suggestion of we need a government to kind of watch us over what we're doing because anarchy isn't really fun to live through. And considering that this was written during the English Civil Wars, Thomas Hobbes, it made sense why he would think this way. I mean, like if anything happens in your nation and you want to write something about it, if you write something like related to your government, say like shit, my government's in shambles. There's a civil war going on. You would talk about what would be, you know, it won't be like ideal for it, really. Like we need a government, because all these civil wars aren't really something I'd like to live through. So have the civil war, just have a government kind of watch over us, make sure we're not doing anything dumb, but as well as to rule over. So I guess with these two kind of ideologies, right, from John Locke being like, you shouldn't, I shouldn't be subjected to someone ruling over me without my consent. No. So then there Hobbes being like, we need someone to kind of like rule things over, to kind of keep things in place. Like caretaker, really. So I see they're both thoughts of it. I mean, granted, like both of their ideologies are somewhat used in today's political system. Once we turn 18, we are voting on who we trust. There's a government who watches over us, passes laws, basically tries to keep us safe within this nation. Now, most of you guys probably would have laughed at that, like, huh, trying to keep someone safe in the United States. That's funny. And yes, I know, but I mean, it's relatively safe in some areas, some parts, majority of the parts. I wouldn't trust the major cities so much. But aside from that, that's pretty much it. But basically, government's here to kind of keep things in order, right? And it kind of works for the example that voting. Citizens can vote. Therefore, you have a say in who you want to represent you in the upper levels. In the legislature or in the legislature. Because to be honest, that's really the only area where their votes really count. While the electoral college is some other thing that I don't think it explains it here very well. But essentially, it's just that, really. Oh yeah, Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Roger Sherman, Robert Livingston were the draft the first Declaration of Independence. And I know I have to remember a lot of timestamps, but oh yeah, I just remember one thing though. Like, Articles of Confederation was absolutely shit. Like no doubt. Representative democracy. Yeah, it is basically a representative democracy. Government with people and trust elected officials who represent their concerns. I mean, that's pretty much today's democracy, really. Like, say once I turn 18 and I want to vote mayor, represent my interests in the town I live in, I'll be like, yo, you have my vote because your interests, your views align with mine interests. But it happens from time to time. But obviously not everyone's not everyone's interests will align with a politician's views. Which obviously you would vote for the person who does. And if there's anyone, you'll try to either not vote, which if you want to, you can not vote. No one's stopping you, but it's not really recommended. Recommended, or you can try to find a middle ground with one other politician. You're like, I may not agree with some things he has. However, I do like some of the other things he said. So would I sacrifice some of my views for a middle ground? And in most cases, yes. But if the other views that he holds are kind of going against what you think, why is this in the gaming category? Hold on. You don't belong here. Should I really put it in? Is there anything else? I don't know where the fuck to put it though. Is it not just chatting here? I'll just put it in education. Actually, no, it's not educative at all. I just put in people in vlogs. Yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't fucking know what. I don't know what the hell to do with that. No wonder it was odd. I had it in gaming the whole time. That makes sense. Oh well. So we got a participatory democracy, which is where people directly participate in it. Now, from what I was told, is that this democracy does exist. However, it's more of on the local level. So, say like you want to vote mayor, you're directly participating, and you're participating in participatory democracy because you're voting in for you're directly voting for who should be mayor. I guess it also goes for governor, governor of state, or like any local level stuff, Say like I wanted to vote the mayor for the town I live in. Simple, I just go to any ballot that they're doing and then just cast my vote. Bam. He has my vote to become mayor of the city. If he doesn't win, oh well, doesn't matter. All right, oh well, I just got to deal with whatever the new guy has. So yeah, not bad, not bad. And then we have a pluralist democracy, where I guess this one is like, oh, interesting, because like you're relying on interest groups. Yeah, you have to rely on interest groups to do your bidding for you, which yeah. So basically, a pluralist democracy is just kind of a is where interest groups kind of like influence the voting. So that's a pluralist democracy. And then there's the one that's like pretty advent in the U.S. elite democracy, where you elect representatives to make decisions on your behalf, which is basically just like voting representatives to Congress, really, or the Senate. Like you're literally voting people to to voice your concerns in Congress. It doesn't sound bad at first, but then you realize, right, that it's one guy for every a couple hundred people in a state. So gotta be careful who you vote for in these scenarios, because you might have yourself a bit of an interesting situation to go up with if you vote someone who isn't really, voicing what you're concerned with. So that's like, I guess it's like, yeah, yeah. So that's basically elite democracy, and each all three of these forms are kind of used in a way. I guess pluralist democracy, you can say, can be used when Congress trying to pass a bill or something, because most of the laws they pass really favor interest groups, aka companies, of certain natural resources we use. But then the participatory democracy is just like local level stuff. Like, oh, voting for voting for a mayor, that's great. And it's just elite democracy, which, well, yeah, it's just voting representatives. Right. Ah, yes, the Federalists. How can I not forget them? Basically, like at some point, when trying to model the nation. Some people were like, we need a strong central government to kind of look over at all the states, right? But then some other people were like, nah, bruh, we need a weak central government so like the states can have more autonomy. Which at the time you're like, okay, makes sense, right? It just came out from a king who just rule over them with like no chill in his life, right? Makes sense. But you know, if you look at it now, you're like, wow, different interests clash, and with all these different interests, it's gonna be a little tough to like, kind of find a middle ground for everything. Thus was born the Federalist and the Anti-Federalists. Main heads like Alexander Hamilton, James Madison, and John Jay. Which then, yeah, which then their writings became known as the Federalist Papers. How cool is that? You and like a couple other people just out there, just doing your own thing, really. Can't get too mad at it. But aside from that, that's pretty much all that there is. You know, I think it is in the education system, but that doesn't matter. So probably be the one and only time I'll ever do this until the AP exams roll around. Then I'll probably come back to just I don't know. Actually, no, I won't. I'll just probably watch Heimler explain it to me. Speaking of which, that's what I'll probably do after this stream. Just hop on Heimler to see what he has to say about this. Because I'm just trying to take in as much information as I possibly can, but I get distracted too easily, which is a mistake for me doing this stream. Oh well. Hmm. Oh, yeah, then there's the anti-federalists, people who kind of opposed like a strong central government. The anti-federalists, and they have their reasons right here, which I'm gonna do a quick little peek at. Can't read you guys too much. Hmm. Oh, referendums. I never thought of it that way. Ah, wow. A lot of interesting stuff. Pro Constitution. Alright. Well, guys, I'm gonna end it here and do some studying on my own. See you guys.